All right, guys, we are in part 2 of section 6.4, and I kind of looked ahead a little bit, and we only have 4 examples left, so we are almost done. This video should not take very long. So in this next example, is PQRS a parallelogram? Explain. All right, so let's go through the different ways of knowing. We know that we have one pair of opposite sides that are congruent, but we don't have the second pair, so it's not the first option. We have that Q and R, these two angles, they are supplementary. They do add up to equal 180, but we don't know angle S and we don't know angle P, so we can't use that both sets of angles to one angle are supplementary, and we also can't use that both pairs of opposite angles are congruent, so that doesn't help us either. We don't know anything about diagonals, okay, so we can't use that. However, there's one more. The fifth option was that if you have a pair of opposite sides that are both congruent and parallel. Now, although it doesn't tell us that they're parallel, we can use information from previous chapters to know that if we look at these two lines right here, cut by that transversal, same side interior, so angles Q and R are same side interior, so if those two are supplementary, then that means that these two are parallel. So yes, PQRS is a parallelogram. By number 5, which says one pair of opposite sides are both parallel and congruent. Okay, so just because it doesn't automatically tell you that they're parallel, remember, we know lots of information, okay? You just have to dig back in your brain a little bit and remember from that chapter where we talked about parallel lines, and I know that you guys have talked about them even more while I've been gone, so I know you guys are capable of this. All right, for the next example, is EFGH a parallelogram? Explain. All right, we don't know anything about opposite sides, whether they're parallel or congruent. We don't know anything about angles. So the only one we have is our diagonals. So we see that this diagonal is cut in half, it's bisected, but we don't know anything about diagonal WY. So no, we can't state that it's a parallelogram because there's not enough information. Okay, we don't know that WY is bisected. Remember, we can't assume. It looks like it is, but we can't make that assumption. So no, we would say it's not a parallelogram, or at least we don't have enough information. All right, our next one. Is ABCD a parallelogram? Explain. All right, don't have any sides, don't have anything about opposite, we have one thing about opposite angles, but we don't know this other pair of opposite angles, and we also don't know anything about consecutive angles. So again, no, not enough information. If it told us that the other set of opposite angles were congruent, then yes, we could say that it's a parallelogram, but again, we cannot make those assumptions. All right, and our last one. Is EFGH a parallelogram? All right, so similar to the first one of this second video, we have that these two sides are congruent. And then if we look at these two, 151 plus 29 does add up to equal 180. Okay, so 151 plus 29, we get 180. So since these two same side interior, again, these are your same side interior, since those two consecutive angles add up to equal 180, that again tells us that these two are also parallel. So from here, yes, because one pair of sides are both parallel and congruent. Now, if it had given us that E and H right here, if it had said, okay, well, this one's 29, and then this one over here is 151. Okay, so let me give you an example like that. If it looked more like this, if it said, all right, these two sides are congruent, and then showed that these two were parallel, then we would say, no, not enough information. You have to pay attention to which sides it's telling you are parallel. Okay, that's very, very important. You do have a Pearson assignment. If you have any questions, let me know through either email or Remind. And